We got kicked out of Vietnam and we made 3 huge mistakes before we came here. Number 1 being the visas, number 2 how long we stayed in places, and number 3 the weather changes a lot in Vietnam, so you need to check that. In this video we're going to go through 10 different things that you need to know before you come to Vietnam so you don't make the same mistakes as us.
Make sure you stick around to the end because we've got so many good tips coming your way that's going to make or break your Vietnam trip. Hit that subscribe button, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. So when is the best time to visit Vietnam? Planning your trip can be tricky because depending on where you are in the country, the weather does vary, but the best time as a whole is around March to April and also September through to November because it's quite predictable and quite warm and lovely. Not raining, all of that, except we were in Phu Quoc over October and it was the end of rainy season. We are also in Da Nang right now and there are days of patchy rain. In saying that, it doesn't rain all day, it's still warm. You just need to carry your jacket with you in case you get caught in a sudden downpour. But it's still enjoyable and you can still get out and about and see the sights.
So today we're actually just doing a little day trip to the Golden Bridge in Da Nang. It's just outside of Da Nang. It took us about half an hour to get here on the scooter this morning. Like Abby said before, it is a little bit rainy right now. So we're just waiting to get up on the cable cars and go check that out. A recommendation if you are going to do this trip, make sure you leave early in the morning because the roads are quite busy. And you know, we've got here just now and still people are already arriving, so yeah. A little bit rainy up there. What do you reckon? Okay, so we are in the, what do you call it? Cable car. Cable car, one of the longest ones in the world in Da Nang.
Other than Phu Quoc.
Other than Phu Quoc, which you got to go check out. Check out our other video on Phu Quoc. It is a great place to visit. But I wanted to talk about etiquette in Vietnam because there's a couple of things that you need to be aware of before you come. That's going to help you get around. So the first thing is Vietnamese people are absolutely lovely. And they're super easy to get along with, super easy to talk with. But when you go to markets and that sort of thing, you are going to run into some people who are going to hassle you. So one way you can say no to them that is polite is by doing this. It's kind of like twisting in a light bulb, and that means you're not interested. So if someone's asking you if you want something, just do this, and it means you're not interested. The other thing to keep in mind is if you enter someone's home or even enter some shops, then it's polite to take your shoes off. One key thing to look for is if there's a pile of shoes out the front, then you should probably take your shoes off. And then just generally politeness. Vietnamese people are incredibly polite, so things like keeping your voice down in public places and, you know, being respectful, like saying thank you, even if you don't know the language, which we're going to go into and talk a bit more about some things you can say. Say thank you, or, you know, even do this. Absolutely fine.
Speaking this, if I have a sudden look of terror on my face, it's because I'm scared of heights and we are in the middle of the air filming this. But the apps that you need to download whilst you're in Vietnam, there are 3 that will really help you make your experience so much easier. The first one is Grab. This is a transport app, so if you're not someone who wants to ride a scooter, you can grab a taxi in scooter form or car form on Grab. And they also have food like Uber Eats on Grab too, so you can quickly order something and it is easily, you know, accessible in most areas if you're not somewhere remote. The second one is Google Translate. This will absolutely save you so much time. They do speak a lot of English in Vietnam, but there are places and people of course who don't. So having Google Translate can really help you make that quick transition and translate between languages, which is going to help you in situations. And then the last one is Maps.me. Google Maps does work, Apple Maps does work as well, but if you're offline, Maps.me can help you get around without Wi-Fi. So one city that we recommend you cannot miss on your itinerary is Da Nang. We have spent 3 days here so far and we've loved it already. It's such a really cool city. There's a really cool big stretch of beach which is beautiful and it's just really happening. There's so much happening at night. We went for a stroll last night. So many people out and about, having dinner, dancing on the sidewalk. Like, it's just such a cool vibe. The food's really cool. It's like an unexpected, really cool city and definitely one that you should try out.
Also, the seafood is right. There is so much seafood around. And we went out for some Vietnamese food last night and the food just seems to be super delicious, super incredible. The prices are quite cheap as well. So I think it's a place for digital nomads. Seems like a real hub for digital nomads.
Yeah, we went to this place called Emo's restaurant last night. We'll put the info here. It was so yummy. You need to try it. And then our first night, we also came and we found this random restaurant on Google that had like 4,000 reviews. It was so cheap, and I'll put that slide here as well. I've forgotten the name of it. But if you're in the Da Nang area, put these 2 restaurants on your list because the food was outstanding.
There's the hands.
Yeah, you can kind of see the hands.
And one thing I'd suggest if you came up here is come during summer or when it is not raining, because right now
You can't see shit.
But pretty cool. It looks pretty epic, doesn't it? The hands are gone.
We'll put some photos up here of what it's supposed to look like.
Thanks, Ross. You? Thank you, bud. No worries. The hands are gone.
At least there's not many people because apparently this place is really crowded.
That's what
Don't come on the weekend.
You want to get up here early because usually it gets really crowded very, very quickly, which we did see.
Alright, we're going to go through some simple Vietnamese greetings that you need to know before you come because they love it when you use the language and it can also just help you, get through situations a little bit easier. So the first one is thank you, which is Kamun. I kind of like to think of it as like come on, so that kind of helps you remember it a little bit. The second one you need to know is Sim Chow. This means hello, but sometimes they also say it as goodbye, so it's almost like ciao, hello and goodbye. No thank you is Kom Kamun, so you can say that if you're not interested in something and give it a little wave as well. The fourth one is Bao New. This means how much, which can be helpful when you're asking the price of something. And I apologise for the way I look at the moment. I kind of look like a drowned rat / someone who has lost sense of style.
After a little bit of a fail going to the Golden Bridge, we decided to come back down because we do have some work to do. I've got a meeting, so we're going to take a call and then we'll see how it looks, see if we go up again. But otherwise, this is what happens as digital nomads, as traveling around. You don't always hit everything right. It doesn't always work out perfect. There are some roadblocks, and that's what we're going to talk about. So one of the things that gets you out of roadblocks is having internet. In Vietnam, it's really easy to get internet. Buying a SIM card, if you're not posting online and don't worry about where you're posting from and everything, buy a SIM card. They're super cheap. You can get a data-heavy SIM card from any sort of service station or even from the airport, even though they're a bit more expensive. But they're really not that expensive in the end. You get unlimited data and it makes it really easy to get around. Otherwise, Wi-Fi is rife everywhere, so you can go to most cafes will give you Wi-Fi for free. Another thing to keep in mind is what to wear. Like today was an example of us needing to bring a rain jacket or a jumper or something to keep us warm and keep us dry. But when you're traveling around Vietnam, you don't need to take too much. You take lightweight clothes and that probably gets you 90% of the way. And then having a rain jacket is really important, although you can always buy some along the road or anywhere in Vietnam. You can buy a rain jacket. And then one jumper is probably all you need to take, because if you go up north, then it can get quite cold at night. Even sometime during the year, in the south, it can get cold. So bringing a jacket will just, save you in those little positions. The other thing you need to pack is obviously sunscreen. It is super hot here and gets really sunny, so pack sunscreen and insect repellent. you need insect repellent, especially up in the north, in the jungle area. You know, there's heaps of mosquitoes and dengue fevers around, all of those sorts of things. So make sure you get a good mosquito repellent with DEET. If you didn't bring one, then just go to a pharmacy and they have all the best mosquito repellents. The other thing you need to prepare beforehand is make sure you get your vaccinations. So before we came, I think, or before we went to Thailand, we got all of our vaccinations. All you have to do is go to your local GP, ask them what vaccinations are recommended for travelling to Vietnam, and tell them that you're going to the north or to the jungle area or those sorts of things, and then they'll give you all the injections you need. I think there's typhoid and some other ones, but super simple and just keep you safe.
One thing that a lot of foreigners do worry about when they're in Vietnam is crossing the road, and we are literally crossing the road at the moment. But you just need to know that firstly, if you're from Australia, they do drive on the right side of the road here, so it's the opposite, so be mindful of that. But more importantly, just be cautious. They do give way most of the time, and you just gotta act confident. Oh, hello. Act confident as you walk through, and just know their intention is not to hit you, but keep your wits about it.
Most of the time when you are crossing the road, they will slow down, and if you just put your hand out like a stop, then most likely they will stop for you and let you cross.
But don't think that. Don't rely on us for that. Make sure you definitely just keep your wits back.
Of course, safety first.
Safety first.
There's some unusual things to note about coming to Vietnam. The first is that it seems to be quite a nighttime sort of vibe. So most people are either working during the day or stay inside during the day, and then at night everyone sort of comes out, and it's been like that at all the different cities we've been to. So just keep that in mind if it's quiet. The other thing is motorbike culture here. You know, it is totally fine to carry your couch from one place to another on a motorbike. Or
the things we've seen on a motorbike, if I can find videos, I'll pop them up. It's crazy.
You can carry your whole family of 8 on a motorbike here. So don't be concerned if you see that.
Another thing is the ice situation here. A lot of people think that you should come to Asian countries or Vietnam and avoid ice drinks, but it's absolutely fine to drink icy drinks or drinks with ice in them, because they use normal water, bottled water to create the ice, so it's totally fine.
They buy the ice usually.
Yeah.
They buy the ice. It's already been through filter and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so we haven't been sick at all. Another thing is that they use little tiny stools everywhere.
Yeah.
So they are quite small people compared to maybe Australians or Americans or anywhere else in the world. So they have these tiny little stools at like local restaurants, which I kind of love. But for a lot of people, just be wary because you might fit on them.
Yeah. But what an adventure sitting
You
on
might
those
need
things.
to, yeah. So how much are you looking to spend for a trip, or maybe even you're a digital nomad and you're wondering how much it costs to live here? But ranging, obviously it depends on your preference, but we're in Da Nang at the moment and we're spending $35 a night for accommodation, and it's pretty good. So that's like pretty standard. You get nice hotels, other places as well. So that's 35 AUD on the beach. It has all the amenities, has a kitchen and everything like that. It even has a gym, a treadmill. And a pool on top.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Paid a little bit more in Hoi An. I think Hoi An's a bit more of a tourist attraction, a bit more touristy, so it's a bit more expensive than Da Nang. And in Phu Quoc, we paid around $800 for the whole month. So it was pretty good accommodation-wise. In terms of food, of course, you can go cheap and cheerful and you can spend $4 a meal, or you can spend $15 a meal, tops. Really not much more than that.
If you're spending $15, you're getting a lot. Really full.
And then you got your like attractions and your tours and all of that sort of stuff, which range from, like, we did a really cool cocktail tour in Hoi An, which was $85 each.
That's probably an expensive one, let's be honest.
And then we did a Phu Quoc day tour, which was like $40 each, where they take you for a full day around all the islands. So pretty affordable place.
Pretty affordable, 100%. And I think some other things are, like, we paid for the gym. The gym can vary. We paid $30 a month in Phu Quoc, and we paid $30 for a week here, so a little bit different. Then what else have we got? That's about it, really. I think otherwise everything's really affordable. The scooters are only like $4 a day to rent. It can be even cheaper. And we got a really fast one this time, which is very exciting.
Taxis are cheap.
Taxis are super cheap, grabs are super cheap, all of that sort of stuff. So that's about it, I think.
Just always carry cash. A lot of places do take card here, but always have cash, especially at markets and things like that, grocery stores.
Yeah,
Need it.
you definitely need it. And hot tip, some of the notes in Vietnam look the same, so be careful when you look at the notes and take them out if you're out drinking. Just beware, some of the notes look similar.
The 10 and the 100 are like a murky green and yellow colour, both of them, and easily mistaken.
Yeah. And then finally, the visa situation. We made a big mistake coming to Vietnam with our visas. And before I get to that, there's a couple of things you need to know. If you're coming from Western countries, you do need to apply for a visa in most senses. And you can get like a 30-day visa. It's super easy to get, but you need to apply in advance because it can take a little bit of time. Make sure you have all the names and everything written exactly right, because this can really be a hassle for you if you get that wrong, and it can take you longer to receive that visa. Also, you can not be let into the country because just the name is incorrect. Now, the reason, I might let Abby talk about the reason why we stuffed up our visa, because it's pretty funny.
Yeah, so we tried to get onto our flight from Melbourne to Vietnam, and we were almost rejected because we were silly enough to do our research that we actually needed a visa. Regardless of that, we were on our way to Phu Quoc, so we were actually visa exempt. So Phu Quoc is visa exempt for 30 days, so they let us on the plane without a visa. We got there and then we thought, okay, no worries, we'll just sort it out in a couple of weeks. We'll go to the embassy and we'll get a visa extension, get a new visa, and we'll be fine. Turns out you can't do that. So we actually had to leave the country, which was a bit of a blessing in disguise, silver lining. We went to South Korea and had an amazing 1-week trip as like a bit of a visa run. But it was very expensive to do that and just a bit of a pain in the ass. So our recommendation is if you're going to Phu Quoc and you plan to travel around Vietnam afterwards, get a visa anyway, even though you are exempt, because you have to leave the country if not. But other than that, just get a visa anyway because it's so much easier. And yeah, it takes a couple of days. And it covers you, so.
We can just get a bit complacent as Westerners travelling around Asia. You think you can go into every country, visa on arrival, but you cannot.
You cannot.
Anyway, I hope you liked this video. Please like it if you did, and subscribe to us. We send out these videos all the time. We're going to send out some awesome ones coming up. Leave us any comments. If we got anything wrong, let us know. If we got anything right, let us know.
Recommend anything, let us know.
Yeah, if you can recommend anything, we're going to be here for quite a while, so let us know about that as well. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.